The Black Death was one of the deadliest pandemics in human history. Sweeping through Europe in the 14th century, this bubonic plague outbreak killed an estimated 25 million people, roughly one-third of the continent's population. Beyond the staggering death toll, the Black Death left deep scars on European society, triggering social, economic, and religious upheavals that changed the trajectory of history. The origins of the Black Death can be traced to Central Asia. By the 1340s, the plague spread along trade routes, reaching Europe via ships traveling from the Black Sea. In October 1347, a fleet of Genoese ships arrived in Sicily carrying plague-infected rats and fleas. From there, the disease spread rapidly across Europe, reaching major cities like Paris, London, and Venice within a few years. The symptoms were horrific. Victims typically experienced swollen lymph nodes, called buboes, high fever, chills, vomiting, and excruciating pain. In many cases, the disease progressed so quickly that death occurred within days of the first symptoms. With no understanding of bacteria or how the plague spread, medieval doctors were powerless to stop the epidemic. Entire villages were wiped out, and cities were reduced to chaos. Desperation drove people to extreme measures. Some fled to remote areas, while others turned to flagellation or other religious rituals in an attempt to ward off the plague. Quarantines were imposed in many places, but they often came too late to be effective. The Black Death's social impact was profound. The sheer scale of death shattered many long-held beliefs. For some, faith in the church was strengthened as they sought solace and salvation. But for others, the church's inability to explain or stop the plague led to widespread disillusionment. Many priests abandoned their congregations out of fear, and the church faced a significant loss of authority in the aftermath. Economic upheaval followed in the plague's wake. With so many workers dead, labor shortages became widespread. Serfs and peasants, who had long been bound to the land under the feudal system, found themselves in higher demand. In many cases, they demanded better wages and living conditions, and some were able to leave their feudal obligations altogether. This contributed to the gradual decline of feudalism in Europe and the rise of a more market-driven economy. The psychological effects of the Black Death were equally significant. Art and literature from the period reflect a new preoccupation with death and mortality. The macabre imagery of skeletons, dance of death motifs, and grim scenes of suffering became common themes in medieval art, highlighting the pervasive fear and grief of the time. The plague also sparked waves of scapegoating and violence. In some parts of Europe, Jewish communities were falsely accused of poisoning wells and spreading the disease. This led to horrific massacres and expulsions, further deepening divisions within European society. Despite its devastation, the Black Death also brought some unexpected changes that would shape the future of Europe. The loss of population opened up new economic opportunities for survivors. Agricultural lands were abandoned, leading to a shift toward more efficient farming practices. Cities began to recover, and trade routes reopened, ushering in a period of economic growth and cultural renewal that would eventually culminate in the Renaissance. The Black Death remains a haunting reminder of humanity's vulnerability to disease, yet it also illustrates how societies can adapt and evolve in the face of unimaginable tragedy. The plague's legacy is woven into the fabric of European history, influencing everything from religion and economics to art and culture. So how did the Black Death change Europe's future? It dismantled old social structures, reshaped economies, and forever altered how people viewed life and death. Its impact can still be felt in many aspects of modern society. What are your thoughts on the Black Death's lasting legacy? Share your perspective in the comments below. And if you enjoy exploring history's most pivotal moments, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.